Alrighty, so hello and welcome back. In my first clip, I wanted to show you the use of the Let's Resin bubble machine remover that I received. And it's not too bad. I am going to torch it here, and I don't know, there are a lot of little micro bubbles, and I might not be using the machine correctly. So I'm a little apprehensive on my next project because it's supposed to be as much as bubble free as possible. So I'm going to use a resin ink from Octopus called Jeans, and I'm going to put a very transparent color, like maybe just one drop, and I'm going to stir it up. So this is the chiffon technique, but I'm going to use plastic. I saw it on Instagram, and this is my, believe it or not, third attempt, because I'm struggling with what sort of pigments to use for my first layer and my second layer. I seem to be screwing it up, for a better word. So what I'm going to do first, though, is make sure I mix this really well, because I know that when I did it the second time, the first time was pretty clear, but the second time it looked like I didn't mix up my resin very well, my ink very well. So I'm just going to make sure I really stir this. So just feel free to fast forward through some of this. Because then it doesn't look very mixed. So let me just keep doing this. And I had to reach out to my friend Nicole, who is so incredible that she can see a piece and kind of tell me what she thinks the person used, or guesstimate, the technique. She really understands resin really well. Oh my gosh, I'm just creating more and more bubbles. Oh my gosh. Oh well. What I will do is I will maybe put my heat gun over it and also torch it. So I'm using craft resin. I mixed up 80 grams total. I want to put a very thin layer. Ooh, that's really light. Oh well. The trick supposedly is a very thin layer of resin. Now that might be too thin. So let me just put in just a little bit more. And I will go get my heat gun. And while I do that, I will also place you sort of on a time lapse, because I'll be using, I think that's thin enough, I hope. I'll be using, well, obviously I didn't need all that resin, a plastic sheet. And I got a fairly sturdy one instead of just cling wrap. So let me see if I get better luck with that. So I'll be back in just 2 ticks. So to be very careful, I'm using my heat gun, especially because of the crystal edge in this live edge mold. I'm going to be torching it, and as well after, but more in the center, you'll see. And then I'll be placing the plastic over and try to make as many folds as I can. So it takes a lot of time. Feel free to fast forward, and I'll see you shortly. So I just want to mention real quick, I'm kind of getting some folds, but because I'm sort of inexperienced on this technique, I'm not going to bother or worry too much about the bubbles. I know I've got bubbles galore. And I think chiffon material is a lot easier unless, you know, I use cling wrap. So anyway, this is just an experiment. It was a beautiful design that I wanted to try to do, and I'm trying it. I just forgive the bubbles. Just forgive me for the bubbles. I can't. I'm more interested in the folds, and I'm actually trying to do the folds that she had, which were just amazing. But I think this is the best I can do right now. So anyway, I will see you for the next step. Okie doke. Let's see how this comes out. Oh, nice. And I can use this again, so which I will, because I realized and I found the video of what I was trying to get. So, ooh, some cool folds here. So to make sure that I have color showing up, I'm going to just brush on some Chameleon powder and then pour a layer of resin, resin with some ink over it. So I'll do it to a time lapse, and I thank my friend Nicole for helping me with this process. So I'll be right back. So now I'm going to try, I mixed up some fast cure, and I did just 160 grams total. Since this is an experiment, I don't want to use too much of my resin. So this one is Octopus resin ink, Anzian. I thought I'd do a darker color of the blue. I know you may not have been able to see the first fold because it was so light blue, but you know, in my from my view, it's actually a nice blue. The other one, the one that's in the mold. Okay, so now I'm gonna use some shadow actually, if I can. Oh, I remember. I think this one I had trouble opening. Okay, I'll just put more Anzian, and let me get some black onyx, I suppose, or maybe I'll just leave it as this, and let's see what happens. I just hope the folds show up. And since I've got Chameleon mica powder in it, maybe I'll be okay. So it was really interesting, the Instagram that I saw with the plastic chiffon technique. It was 2 different pastes that were used, so it'll be interesting when I experiment that. But the person used Artline Honey resin, so I'm assuming that's really thick resin. So okay, you know, I think I better get some onyx, so let me just go get that. 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to put 1-2 drops. Okay, just to make it darker. I've got to get my husband to see if he can open that shadow bottle for me. Okay, so let me put this into my mold. So I did take this out and and sort of vacuumed, dusted it with my little blower to get any remnants of my mica powder out. So, all right, so here we go. And I did fast cure because I want to see how this turns out. This is really thick resin, so it's, and I want to make sure I've mixed up my ink really well. All right, here we go. All right, so it's not enough, you know, to fill the mold, but that's okay. This is experimenting. This is such a pretty mold that I got from Resin Art over in Russia. My sweet friend, who I met through the Caplia courses, sent it to me. I hope, I can't remember if I mentioned that before or not, but I wanted to make sure I did it again. Okay. All right. So I assume, or I'm learning, there are different ways of doing the chiffon. You know, you use resin inks, you use mica powder, and you can use paste. So let me heat gun it, and then I will see you for the unmolding. Okay, so this bonus piece, hopefully, this is a mold that I got from Laura's Art Corner a long time ago. I'm kind of going through my stash of molds and seeing what I have that I could do another pour in. So the same resin that I used for the chiffon silk technique, I'm using strawberry resin ink. I'm going to put in just 1 drop. I want a really light red. Okay, good. Don't want it too dark. And as I'm stirring this, because I want minimal bubbles, I found these rose sort of buds or pieces. And I'm going to pour it in here. This is a very simple pour. So let me see how this goes. I'm just going to gently stir it up. Okay, so this one I had left over 8 ounces, so hopefully it'll be enough for both molds. Okay, so now all I do is just pour it in here, and I know because of all that stuff it's going to take a little longer. But I want to make sure this one has enough first before I pour into the other one. And my resin is getting hot already. Oh boy. Maybe what I should have done is put the rose petals in first, you know, into this, and then poured the resin. Just sort of shove those in there. And I can. I'm thinking of going to get my little strainer that I use for resin. But I'm going to go to here also. Oops. My resin is dripping from my cup. On the other side, I'm trying to keep it off my surface. So, ooh, please be enough. So I'm just shoving those in. Excuse the background noise. Hard to work in my kitchen. Okay. Oh, good. I think I'm going to have enough resin. Awesome. Now, my experience with this mold previously when I used it, I don't know if you can see, but this particular top is kind of slanted or crooked, and I don't know if that happened, you know, from the shipping. And I even ordered another one and it did the same thing. So I think it's just the mold. So I will put you on a time lapse to show you what I did to counter that, to make it sort of more, you know, sort of more solidly, directly straight. So let me just finish this. I'll see if I have enough there. Oops, sorry, move the camera. Okay, so I kind of want, I'm going to use my heat gun. So anyway, I'll put you on a time lapse and, time lapse to show you my little apparatus. Okie doke. Guess what time it is? Yes, it's reveal time, and look at all those bubbles. Ah! That's because of that fast cure. Can't help it. As I said, forgive me my bubbles. I just want a velvet chiffon look. Oh, not too bad. It's, I did get some folds. And thank goodness for that mica powder, Chameleon mica powder. I got some pretty colors in there. Very cool. I will try this again when I get the resin that the person had used, and perhaps also the paste, using a different paste. But that kind of worked. Let me kind of move it around for you. I don't know if you can see the color shifting. Actually, I need to move this up. So here it is. Pretty cool. Thanks, Nicole, for your help, and I do like it that I placed it in the live crystal edge mold. Kind of gives it another textured look. Let's one more time. Okay, next reveal. Okay, so here's the top. It turned out pretty cute, and look at all the rosebuds just sunk to the bottom of it. And then here is the side view of this bottom kind of trinket box, I guess is what I'm going to call it, or trinket container. And all the rosebuds drop to the center. So I will probably find a way to take a photo of it at this angle so that you can see it. But I'm pretty happy with those two. And hope you enjoyed the double feature. All right, thanks for watching, and catch you next time.